Hello, and welcome back to Everyday English, the podcast where we explore everyday topics in clear, simple English. I'm so happy you're joining me today. Get comfortable because today we are going to talk about one of the most magical and widely celebrated holidays in the world, Christmas. Whether you celebrate Christmas yourself or not, it is impossible to ignore. The music, the decorations, the food, the films, the feeling in the air. Christmas touches the lives of billions of people every year in almost every corner of the world. So today we are going to explore everything about Christmas. Its history and origins, its traditions and customs, how it is celebrated differently around the world, the food, the music, the spirit behind it all, and what Christmas means to people today. We will also learn some useful vocabulary along the way. So let's dive in. Let's start at the very beginning. Where does Christmas come from? Christmas is a Christian holiday that celebrates the birth of Jesus Christ. The word Christmas comes from the Old English phrase, Christes Maes, which means Christ's Mass, a religious service held in honor of Jesus. Christians believe that Jesus was the Son of God, born to a woman named Mary in the town of Bethlehem, in what is now the country of Israel. According to the Bible, Jesus was born in a stable, a simple shelter for animals, because there was no room at the inn. Shepherds in the fields nearby were visited by angels who told them about the birth, and they came to see the baby. Wise men, sometimes called the Three Kings or the Magi, followed a bright star in the sky and traveled from distant lands to bring gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. This story is at the heart of Christmas, and many of its traditions, the star, the gifts, the stable scene, come directly from this ancient story. Now, Christmas is officially celebrated on the 25th of December every year. But interestingly, historians and scholars are not actually sure that Jesus was born on that date. The Bible does not mention a specific date. So, why December the 25th? The most widely accepted explanation is that early Christians chose this date to align with existing winter celebrations that were already popular in Europe at the time. The ancient Romans celebrated a festival called Saturnalia, a week-long period of feasting, gift-giving, and merrymaking in late December. And many cultures celebrated the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, around December the 21st, with fire, light, and feasts to mark the return of longer days. When Christianity spread through Europe, the Church placed Christmas in late December to give people a Christian meaning for a time of year that was already associated with celebration and light. Over centuries, the traditions of these older celebrations blended with Christian customs to create what we now know as Christmas. So, how did Christmas evolve into the holiday we know today? The modern version of Christmas as a warm, family-centered holiday with decorated trees, gift-giving, and a jolly figure in red was largely shaped in the 19th century, the 1800s. In England, the writer Charles Dickens played an enormous role. His story, A Christmas Carol, published in 1843, painted a vivid picture of Christmas as a time of generosity, family togetherness, and redemption. The story follows a cold-hearted businessman named Ebenezer Scrooge, who is visited by three ghosts on Christmas Eve and is transformed into a kind and generous person. The story reminded people of what Christmas was really about. Not money or status, but warmth, compassion, and human connection. A Christmas Carol became enormously popular and helped revive Christmas traditions in England that had been fading at the time. Around the same time in the United States, the image of Santa Claus was being shaped. Santa Claus is based on a real historical figure, Saint Nicholas, a Christian bishop who lived in what is now Turkey in the 4th century, around the year 300 AD. Saint Nicholas was famous for his extraordinary generosity. He gave away his inherited wealth to help the poor and was known for secretly giving gifts to people in need. One famous legend says he threw bags of gold coins through the window of a poor family's home at night so their daughters could afford to get married. Over centuries, stories of Saint Nicholas spread through Europe, and he became the patron saint of children. In the Netherlands, he was called Sinterklaas. And when Dutch settlers came to America, they brought this tradition with them. Over time, Sinterklaas became Santa Claus. In the 19th century, American writers and artists began to shape the image we recognize today. A large, jolly man with a white beard, dressed in red and white, who travels the world in a sleigh pulled by reindeer on Christmas Eve, delivering gifts to children while they sleep. The red suit, by the way. Many people believe it was invented by the Coca-Cola Company in the 20th century for an advertising campaign. This is actually a myth. Santa was already widely depicted wearing red before Coca-Cola used his image. But the Coca-Cola advertisements from the 1930s were so popular and so widely distributed that they did help cement this image of Santa in the global imagination. Now let's talk about Christmas traditions, because there are so many wonderful ones. Let's start with the Christmas tree. Decorating an evergreen tree, a tree that stays green all year, is one of the most iconic Christmas traditions. The practice is thought to have originated in Germany, where people brought pine and fir branches into their homes during winter, as a symbol of life and hope during the cold, dark months. The tradition spread to Britain in the early 19th century when the German-born Prince Albert, husband of Queen Victoria, set up a decorated Christmas tree at Windsor Castle. The image of the royal family gathered around the tree was published in newspapers and became enormously fashionable. Soon, decorating Christmas trees spread across Britain and then to other countries. Today, Christmas trees are decorated with lights, ornaments, tinsel, and a star or angel placed at the very top. Some families use real trees. The smell of a fresh pine tree in the living room is one of the most beloved scents of the season. Others use artificial trees that can be packed away and reused each year. Then there are Christmas stockings. The tradition of hanging a stocking by the fireplace on Christmas Eve comes from the legend of Saint Nicholas. According to the story, Saint Nicholas heard about a poor man who had 3 daughters but no money to give them as a dowry so they could marry. One night, Saint Nicholas climbed onto the roof of the family's house and dropped bags of gold coins down the chimney. The coins landed in the daughters' stockings, which were hanging by the fireplace to dry. And so the tradition was born. Children hang stockings by the fireplace on Christmas Eve, hoping that Santa will fill them with small gifts, sweets, and treats overnight. Christmas cards are another lovely tradition. The practice of sending printed greeting cards at Christmas began in England in 1843. The same year, Charles Dickens published A Christmas Carol, which tells you something about how rich that particular year was for Christmas culture. The first commercial Christmas card was designed by John Calcott Horsley and commissioned by Sir Henry Cole, who wanted a quick and easy way to send holiday greetings to a large number of people. The cards showed a family gathered around a table, celebrating together. The idea caught on quickly. and sending Christmas cards became one of the most popular traditions of the season. Today, billions of Christmas cards are sent around the world every December, though increasingly, people also send digital cards and messages through their phones. Advent calendars are another beloved tradition, especially for children. Advent is the period of 4 weeks leading up to Christmas, beginning on the Sunday closest to the 30th of November. An Advent calendar counts down the days from the 1st of December to the 24th, Christmas Eve. Traditional Advent calendars have 24 little doors or windows, one to be opened each day. Behind each door, there is a small picture, a Bible verse, or, in modern versions, a piece of chocolate or a small gift. Opening the Advent calendar door each morning is one of the great small joys of the Christmas season, especially for children. Now, Christmas Eve, the night of the 24th of December, is actually the most magical night of the Christmas season for many families. In many traditions, Christmas Eve is when the main celebration happens. Families attend church services, often a midnight mass, held at midnight to mark the beginning of Christmas Day. They gather for special meals, exchange gifts, sing carols, and put out milk and cookies for Santa Claus and carrots for his reindeer. Children hang their stockings and go to bed as early as they can, barely able to sleep from excitement, hoping that when they wake up on Christmas morning, Santa will have visited. This sense of magic and anticipation on Christmas Eve is something that many adults remember as one of the most special feelings of their childhood. Christmas Day itself, December the 25th, is traditionally a day for family. People wake up early to open gifts, attend church, and then gather for the big Christmas meal. In the United Kingdom, a traditional Christmas dinner includes roast turkey with stuffing, roast potatoes, Brussels sprouts, parsnips, carrots, gravy, and cranberry sauce. For dessert, there is Christmas pudding, a dense, dark, fruit-filled steamed pudding that is often soaked in brandy and dramatically set alight before serving. In the United States, the meal is very similar. In France, the traditional Christmas feast is called Le Réveillon and is held on Christmas Eve. It is an extraordinarily lavish meal that can last for hours, featuring oysters, foie gras, smoked salmon, roast meats, and a spectacular dessert called bûche de Noël, a chocolate cake shaped and decorated to look like a Yule log. In Italy, Christmas Eve is traditionally a meatless meal, the Feast of the Seven Fishes, featuring 7 different seafood dishes. In Japan, which is not a predominantly Christian country, Christmas has become associated with a very specific food: fried chicken from KFC. This is a uniquely Japanese tradition that began in 1974 when KFC launched a marketing campaign called Kurisumasu ni wa Kentucky, Kentucky for Christmas. The campaign was so successful that KFC became the go-to Christmas meal for millions of Japanese families. People order their KFC Christmas meal weeks in advance. It is one of the most delightful examples of how a holiday tradition can be completely reinvented in a new cultural context. Let's talk about Christmas music, because it is impossible to think about Christmas without thinking about the music. Christmas carols are traditional songs that have been sung for centuries. Silent Night, originally written in German as Stille Nacht in 1818, is perhaps the most famous Christmas carol in the world. It has been translated into hundreds of languages and is sung in churches, schools, and homes everywhere. O holy night, hark the herald angels sing, O come all ye faithful, and joy to the world, are other beloved traditional carols that have been sung for generations. Then there are the modern Christmas classics, songs written in the 20th century that have become just as much a part of the season as the ancient carols. White Christmas, sung by Bing Crosby, is the best-selling single of all time. It has sold over 50 million copies worldwide. Jingle Bells, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Winter Wonderland, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. These songs are played in shops, restaurants, and homes throughout December and are recognized by people all over the world. And of course, there is the great debate. Is Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You, released in 1994, the greatest Christmas pop song ever recorded? Many people say yes. It hits the #1 spot on music charts every December without fail, more than 30 years after its release. That is a remarkable achievement. Now let's talk about how Christmas is celebrated differently around the world, because the variety is truly wonderful. In Australia and New Zealand, Christmas falls in the middle of summer. Temperatures can be well above 30 degrees Celsius on December the 25th. So Australians celebrate Christmas at the beach with outdoor barbecues, swimming, and sunshine. The idea of a snowy Christmas is completely foreign to the Australian experience, and yet many of the traditions, the tree, the gifts, the carols, remain the same. It is a fascinating cultural contrast. In many Latin American countries, Christmas is celebrated with enormous energy and joy. In Mexico, the celebrations begin on the 16th of December with Las Posadas, a 9-night celebration that reenacts Mary and Joseph's search for shelter in Bethlehem. People go from house to house in a candlelit procession, singing traditional songs. In Venezuela, it is traditional to roller skate to church on Christmas morning. In many cities, the roads are actually closed to cars on Christmas morning so that people can skate safely. In Ethiopia, Christmas is celebrated on January the 7th, according to the Ethiopian Orthodox calendar, and is called Jenna. People play a traditional game similar to hockey, also called Jenna, as part of the celebrations. In the Philippines, Christmas is celebrated for the longest period of any country in the world. Filipino radio stations begin playing Christmas music in September, 4 full months before Christmas Day, and the celebrations continue until January. The Filipino Christmas season is warm, joyful, and deeply community-focused, with neighborhood caroling, gift-giving, and spectacular lantern festivals. One of the most beautiful aspects of Christmas around the world is the tradition of light. Whether it is the lights on a Christmas tree, the candles in a church at midnight mass, the luminarias, paper bag lanterns, lit along the streets of New Mexico, or the stunning light displays that illuminate entire city centers in December. Light is absolutely central to the Christmas experience. This makes perfect sense when you remember that Christmas was placed in December partly because of older traditions celebrating the return of light after the darkest time of year. The winter solstice in the Northern Hemisphere, the shortest day, falls just a few days before Christmas. And so lighting up the darkness, quite literally, is at the very soul of this holiday. Let's take a moment to talk about what Christmas means to people today. Christmas is still a deeply religious celebration for many people. Attending church services, reading the Christmas story from the Bible, and reflecting on the birth of Jesus are central to how millions of Christians around the world experience the holiday. But Christmas has also become a cultural celebration that is observed by many people who are not religious at all. For them, Christmas is about family, generosity, tradition, and the particular warmth and magic of the season. And this is not a new development. Christmas has always been a blending of the sacred and the secular, the spiritual and the festive. There are, of course, tensions around Christmas in the modern world. The holiday has become extremely commercial. Shops begin their Christmas displays in October. Advertising campaigns push people to spend more and more on gifts. Black Friday, the shopping event the day after American Thanksgiving, has become a global phenomenon, with people buying Christmas gifts weeks in advance. Many people feel that this commercialism has lost the spirit of the holiday, that Christmas has become more about consumption than about generosity, more about getting than giving. Charles Dickens himself wrote about this tension nearly 200 years ago, and it is still very much alive today. There is also a growing awareness of the environmental impact of Christmas. Millions of Christmas trees are cut down each year. Enormous amounts of packaging and wrapping paper end up in landfills. The carbon footprint of holiday travel and shipping is significant. Many families and communities are finding more sustainable ways to celebrate, buying locally, giving experiences instead of objects, using recycled wrapping, choosing real trees that can be replanted, or donating to charity in the name of a loved one instead of buying a physical gift. And yet, for all its complications, Christmas continues to hold a special place in the hearts of people around the world. There is something about this time of year. The lights against the winter darkness, the smell of pine and cinnamon and warm food, the sound of familiar music, the gathering of people you love, that touches something very deep in the human spirit. It is a time when even strangers are a little kinder to each other, when people who are far apart make the effort to connect, when generosity, however imperfect, is expressed more freely than at any other time of year. I want to finish with something personal. Whatever your background, whatever your beliefs, I think the best version of Christmas, the version worth keeping and celebrating, is simply this. It is a time to be with people you love, to give without expecting anything in return, to slow down and notice the beauty around you, even in the coldest and darkest part of the year, to remember that warmth, light, and kindness are choices we can always make, no matter the season. The story of a child born in a humble stable, welcomed by shepherds and wandering travelers from distant lands, is ultimately a story about the worth and dignity of every human being. And that is a message that belongs to everyone. Thank you so much for listening to Everyday English today. I hope this episode brought a little Christmas spirit into your day, no matter what time of year you are listening. Keep learning, keep growing, and as always, take care of yourself and the people around you. Until next time, goodbye.